Recording starts now. Let's talk about something different. I'm just tired of acid and base discussions. We're going to touch upon some more acid-base discussions as we go along. Let's say we're talking about an amine. Let's say we're talking about some other carboxylic acids later on or sometime later in this course. We will talk about pKa. pKa is not going to leave you alone. pKa is going to be will continue to follow you like a very stubborn puppy that found you in the middle of the wilderness. Okay, so pK is not going to leave you alone for quite some time, and you should have a pretty decent idea about pK, not only for your needs in academia but for your general life, living your life. I think if you have a pretty decent idea about pK and acidity and basicity, it's just important. You know that if you have cleaned your toilet bowl with concentrated sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid, you're not supposed to dump a bottle of ammonia in there. It's going to be a disaster. Okay, you don't want your plumbing to explode inside the toilet bowl. I mean, I know somebody who had done something worse in their middle school when back in India a long time ago. They threw something that went down the water line, the hoses, and then eventually exploded somewhere in the middle. So, you know, kids do really bad things without realizing the consequence. But then as we're all growing older, well, I'm pretty old anyway. So as you guys are growing older and supposed to be more responsible, you should know, all the knowledge from these courses, all your college learning should not just help you with your career building, you know, launching a career as a doctor or an ophthalmologist or whatever, as a professor or something. I mean, you know, whatever you want to be, you should also become more, I don't know, street smart and not do something really foolish. And then you won't be able to not blame yourself because you have taken organic chemistry course, and you should know that you shouldn't be dumping strong acid and strong base together. If not anything, even if you dump it on your floor in your bathroom or somewhere else in the backyard, it's probably going to create a lot of fumes and some sparks, and you know, who knows, if there is something flammable, it can catch fire. So and I think as we go along, I'm going to also talk about some medicinal related stuff like molecules and how they become, you know, like when we talk about aromatic chemistry in 128B, some aromatic molecules that people have used before in the industry, like paint industries, like benzene. And benzene is carcinogenic. Benzene is a hexagon-like molecule. I was just talking about benzene in my Chem 8 class. It looks like this. Okay, 6 carbons in a hexagon fashion and alternate double bonds. Double bond, single bond, double bond, single bond. This molecule is terrible. It causes cancer. But if you put like a methyl group, if you have the hexagon, if you put a methyl group on top of that benzene ring, okay, that's called toluene. That's also, some of you may have heard of this name. Toluene is not toxic, but benzene is toxic. And that answer comes from medicinal chemistry. Like, what happens to the molecules when it's inside a living system? What does a living system do to a foreign synthetic molecule? By the way, benzene used to be used as a paint thinner in the paint industry. So a lot of people who worked with in the paint industry, they would douse their hands with benzene. You know, they would take a cloth, like my handkerchief that I use for wiping my glasses. They would sometimes take a cloth, dip it in benzene, and wipe, like when they're working, you know, whatever surface they're painting, or they want to get rid of the paint, or they want to dilute the paint, they use that. So the benzene would literally like directly penetrate through their skin, get into their bloodstream, and never get out of the system because body doesn't know how to work on that hexagon. Okay, it's a fascinating area. Body doesn't know, a living system doesn't know how to make this molecule polar by doing some biochemical reaction and get rid of it, making it more water soluble. But when you have a methyl group, living systems know how to convert the CH3 group into a carboxylic acid. It's fascinating. When you learn medicinal chemistry, after you have a good hold on your organic chemistry knowledge, you have to build your fundamental, like foundation in organic chemistry. Once you are feeling pretty comfortable, maybe after 128A, starting 128B, I think if I interject a little bit of medicinal chemistry once in a while, some of you will get really thrilled. I think that's where the fun starts. Organic chemistry becomes more fun than general chemistry. And then when you start learning, like, what do these molecules actually do? Can you do this? Will this molecule stay longer in the body if you change the CH3 group into, convert one of the hydrogens into a fluorine? What would that do? What should I replace hydrogen with? What should I replace a methyl group with if the methyl group is causing the molecule to get out of the body too fast? So it can be fascinating. So anyway, with that little distracted discussion, let's get started with our talk on. You have some idea what we're going to be talking about, right? We're going to talk about stereochemistry. Okay. All right. So maybe before we do that, let me just wipe the board because stereochemistry deserves a clean board to start with. Don't freak out about the quiz. I think the quiz is pretty straightforward. If you are paying attention in the classes, you should be fine. I don't see any problems. It's a pretty straightforward quiz. It doesn't guarantee that the following test will be multiple choice. It's probably not going to be multiple choice. It's probably going to be free response. So don't get too excited. Okay. All right. So we are 128A, and today is March 23rd. And we're going to talk about stereochemistry. Finally, my favorite subject. Stereochemistry. Okay. I don't want to drag too much into the introduction, and you guys should probably give me a holler. Sorry, I forgot to turn off my phone today. I was keeping my phone on because I'm expecting a phone call from my collaborator about something very, very important, but I'll turn it off right now. So give me a holler, tell me, remind me around 120 if I forget that I'm supposed to stop. At 120, around 120:22, I should let you guys go, and you guys should be keeping an eye on the canvas so that you can start taking the quiz sharp at 125. So quiz opens up at 125. It's going to be available at 125. It'll go until 145. So it's a 20-minute quiz. 8 questions. The last question is a bonus question. Total points is 21. Ignore what Canvas says. If Canvas says total point is 23, that's not right. So it's 21 points. If you get all of them correct, then you get 23 out of 21, which is close to 114%, 14% more than what it should be. It's going to be more than 100% score. Okay, so you have a chance to get that. Okay, so stereochemistry is interesting. Okay, let's start the discussion. I'm going to drop the pen for a second. You guys have heard about the stereophonic sound versus the mono sound, right? So when you have a single speaker, the sound comes from single speaker. But if you're listening to a concert, right? If you're listening to a concert using one speaker or two speakers, but it was recorded in a mono way, not stereophonic high fidelity way, then imagine if you're sitting in a real concert hall, and if you're listening to the concert with by sitting there, you have maybe the cellists here, maybe the bass is behind here, maybe the violists are here, the violin players are here, maybe behind there is a piano, right? And when you hear it in the concert hall, you get the stereophonic sound. That means all the sound is coming from the appropriate places, okay? So when you reproduce it with high fidelity recording and high fidelity, playback, then it almost sounds like you're hearing it in stereophonic way, okay? Because when you have two speakers, one on the left and one on the right, it projects in such a way that it makes you feel you are sitting in the theater, okay? And the difference between that sound and mono sound, where everything comes from the same direction, like it's a mixture of all the sounds, all the instruments playing, but you're hearing it, whatever you're hearing from the left speaker, you're hearing the same thing from the right speaker. So that is more symmetrical, right? That's more symmetrical, like cello, violin, viola, piano, cello, violin, whatever, and piano. They're all coming from both sides, and it's very symmetric sound. Pay attention to the word symmetric, okay? But when it's let's say you are just hearing a duet between a violin and a viola, okay? The violin is on the left and the violist is on the right, okay? So when it's mixture, when it's not stereophonic, then violin and viola is coming from here, and violin and viola, that sound is coming from the right, okay? It's very symmetric. Left and right, there is no difference. When you hear it the right way, correct way, then the symmetry is broken, okay? It's like something on the left and something else on the right. Can you just imagine that? Just connect the word stereo with symmetry. When there is a stereophonic sound, there is no symmetry. Make that connection in your mind, okay? Try to imagine that and make sure that you get that concept down. We'll pause for maybe 5 seconds. Okay? Very similarly, when you're looking at different objects, let me pick up an object. Let me pick up a symmetric object. What do I have here? You know what? Let's do it this way. So we're going to now test some regular objects that are symmetric. Symmetric objects, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to pretend that we're putting that object in front of a mirror, okay? And we're seeing its mirror image, okay? And then we will study the objects and its mirror image, and then go from there, okay? So let's have an imaginary mirror. So this is going to be in the middle of the board, this is going to be our imaginary mirror. Okay, let's say this is our mirror, and this is the left side is the shiny surface. It's just a mirror. That's the shiny surface, that's not the shiny surface, okay? So if you put an object on the left side, hold on for a second, let me get another pen from here. It's not the right object, okay? It's not going to be a real reflection. I'm just looking for some objects that I can have in my office. I don't really have it. I have some fancy stuff which I can use later on. Not right now. You know what? Let's use real materials. I have some of these guys. Might work. Yeah, it might work. I think I had used them before. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. Imagine this little ball. It's a styrofoam sphere. They came from an ancient set of molecular models. There used to be some sticks. You could put them in the stick. I think I have some of them up here in my office. So this used to be your methane molecule. That's your carbon. This is very ancient. I don't know when this was manufactured, maybe in the 1960s. I inherited it from Dr. Steve Rodemeyer. Okay, and this could be your hydrogen. So this is how the model work. Okay, I don't use these models anymore because they're very cumbersome and they're very flimsy and very fragile. They just break. Like if I try to pull this guy out, it'll probably break it. Okay, I don't want to do that. So sometimes I use these objects. So if I put this little sphere, white sphere, okay, on the left hand side, okay. What color shall I use? Let's use the black color, the blue color. Okay. So if I use this little sphere on the left hand side, imagine that this is your object on the left hand side. What would be how would the mirror image of this object look like inside the mirror? If you're standing in front of a mirror, if this is the mirror, you will see your reflection in the mirror, right? So if I put this object in front of the mirror, you will see its mirror image inside the object, right? So the mirror image, the object of this, so this is that's the real object, and that's the mirror image. Okay, on the left side we have the object or objects, and on the right hand side we have the mirror image. Okay, that's the mirror image, that's the object. Okay, ready? When we have let me see if I can pull this thing out. I don't want this to stick out here. 1 second. I usually prepare and bring some materials from somewhere else. I'm just trying to destroy this thing, which is okay. Not sure if I can pull it out. Literally pull it out. When I don't want it to be there, it doesn't want to come out, but when I want it to stay, then it comes off. Okay, there you go. I think it'll work. I just want it to look like a perfect sphere, nothing spilling out from it. But I think today is not the right day to detach this little stick. Okay, you get the idea. Yeah. So that's a mirror. That's the object. That's the object, and that's the mirror image. Right. On your left is the object, and right is the mirror image. If I could build the mirror image as a separate object, would you say that the real thing, the real object and its mirror image, would you say that they're identical, or would you say they're not identical? What do you guys think? Say something, speak up. The object on your left side in front of the mirror and the mirror image inside the mirror, do you think the object and its mirror image, they're identical materials, identical objects, or there is something different about them? How would you check that? What is your gut feeling? What do you guys think? Do they look same to you? Just use the word same.
They should look,
Sorry?
they should look.
Who wants to answer? Janet and somebody else wanted to answer. Janet, go ahead.
They look the same. They should look the same.
They look the same, so they should be pretty much the same. Anybody else wants to opine?
Well, I was gonna say that they're inverted, so maybe they're not the same.
Why would they not be same? I mean, how would you, okay, who is this? This is Edgar. Edgar, thanks for participation. I appreciate that. Janet too. And those of you who are turning on your cameras. So this is the object and that's the mirror image. So how would you know that they're identical objects? You know, one thing you can do, which you cannot do in real life, you can draw them in a computer in a 3D way, you know, a 3D design, and you can superimpose one inside the other. If you could somehow lay one on top of the other, and if every body part superimposes with the body part of the mirror image, then they're identical, right? By the way, Edgar, it's not a trick question. It's just what you see, you should say what you see, okay? There is nothing tricky going on. There is no don't read between the lines. Don't see between the images. Don't see ghost things in between the images, okay? So whatever you see, as I think as Janet saw, like she said, well, they look pretty much the same. I don't see any difference. I mean, don't get nitty gritty. Like, don't say, oh, there is a little speck of some dirt or something. So there, you know, this is little darker. This is more white. Yeah, don't be too nitpicky. Okay, they look pretty much the same. If I could draw them in using some kind of 3D software, maybe CAD, you don't have to go that fancy. You can do it in ChemDraw, like ChemDraw 3D. You could draw the little spheres, little white balls, and you could put one on top of the other. They would basically superimpose, right? Get used to the word superimpose. We're going to be using it quite often from now. They would superimpose. So they're identical. Does it make sense to everyone in this room, in this Zoom room? They look pretty much the same, right? Or there is still some doubt. If somebody has doubt, speak up right now. What do you guys think? Anyone wants to say yes or no? They look the same. They're identical. The same objects. There's nothing different between them.
Yeah, they're the same.
They look the same, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. I used to have this transparent water cups. I have only one left. I don't know what happened to my rest. 1 second. There might be some surprise inside my drawers. No, today is not the day. Sorry. Okay. Now, let's do something interesting here. Okay. Let's draw the same cups. Let's draw the same cups. So the relationship between them, they are same, or we can say they're superimposable. Super, IMPOSABLE. They're superimposable because if you put one inside the other, all the dimensions, all the, you know, like different appendages, the different characteristics, they will superimpose on one on the other. Okay, now if I now do something interesting here, if I have that shape and if I draw, what do I have here? Okay, if I have the letter A drawn here, okay, imagine it's almost erased. Okay, if I have A written on top of 1, in front of 1, you guys really need to pay attention right now. And this is a pretty big deal. Understanding stereochemistry is very critical, especially if not anything else, it's to launch your career. If you're ambitious, if you are trying to get to some place, even if you're not ambitious, you have no idea if your dream is going to be upgraded down the road. I mean, why not, right? If you're thinking about something, launching a career here, you might change your mind. You might say, I'm more capable. You should also believe in yourself more than you should. You do right now. So now the left object has an A on it, right? So when you hold it in the mirror, right? When you hold it in, sorry, not in the mirror, in front of the mirror. When you hold this object in front of the mirror, what you see inside the mirror as a mirror image is something like this, right? So if I hold this object in front of the mirror, what I see in the mirror as a mirror object, mirror image is this, right? Everybody agrees? Do you think that if I draw it, if I could draw this guy, this white ball with an A written in front of it, and this white ball with an A written in front of it, do you think if I could draw them in 3D in the computer, and if I could superimpose one on top of the other, do you think they would superimpose perfectly? Like the white balls would superimpose on each other and the A would superimpose on one on top of the other. What do you guys think? Are they superimposable? Yes or no?
They are superimposable.
Vincent, they're superimposable. Anybody else? I want to hear from at least two more people. Vincent says that they're superimposable.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah, they would
I
be.
agree.
Superimposable? Okay, very good. We're making progress. Really, I think compared to my experience with Zoom teaching last semester, this semester has been significantly better. You guys are pretty good. The Chem 8 class is pretty good. Chem 128A is also becoming more interactive. They're same or identical. I'm going to say super imposable. That means they're same. Got it? Now, let's do something interesting. What do I have here on this one? It's very hard to see. Let's change the letter. Anybody wants to read my mind? What do you think I'm going to do now? On the third pair of white spheres, what do you think I'm going to do now? Anybody wants to read my mind? Let's play a game. Who can read my mind?
You're going to put a letter that's not gonna match in the mirror?
What letter comes to your mind? Stephanie? Which letter you think I'm going to use? Anybody?
L.
I don't have L written here, unfortunately. You know what? Let's put an L because I can still use this size. I had a letter very close to L. I had K written here. Okay. I don't have K here. Okay, hold on. There you go. These two. Yeah, I had K, but I can definitely put an L. I think there is still some room here on this side. I'm going to put an L here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an L here. It's not a pretty L because it's hard to write on a curved surface. Okay. So its mirror image is going to look like this. Okay. That's the real object. Let me hold it the right way. On your left is the real object. You can see it, right? Yeah, you can see it. And that's the mirror image. Now there is something sticking out from the bottom. So I cannot just turn it upside down, okay? That would be a different scenario. So imagine that this is a sphere, not a perfect sphere, but it has a little stem. It has a little neck down here, okay? So now, so the object on the left side is the real object. Object on the right side is the mirror image. Do you guys think they're superimposable if I draw them in a 3D program on the computer, and if I try to put one on top of the other, do you think they will superimpose? Yes or no?
No.
No, right? So when I draw L, it's critical though. It's critical because there is something funny here. If it were just a sphere, if it were just a sphere, if the necks were missing, then I could turn it upside down. Not really. No, you cannot. There is no way you can do it. Even if this thing wasn't there, there is no way it can look like this guy. Yeah. The bottom line is, yeah, they're just not going to be superimposable. So if I try to superimpose them, one L, today is my dropping day, it looks like. One L looks like this, and the other L, if I draw it using a different color, like maybe the pink color, the other L looks like this, right? There's no way they're going to superimpose. So something funny has just happened. So they don't superimpose. Not superimposable. But they're pretty much the same. It's just like the left side and the right side of some object. It's just the only difference is one is written, one is the object and the other one is the mirror image, right? So they're not superimposable. So they're different objects. They're different things. Okay, so that's one thing. So I had another letter written here. For example, K. K is also another object that's written this way, and they're not superimposable unless you turn it upside down. If I turned it upside down, then it would be superimposable. But because of the necks, I'm not supposed to be turning it upside down. They don't superimpose. Okay, K is also not superimposed. Okay, so the bottom line is, if I took a glass, and if I looked at the mirror image of the glass, okay, imagine that I'm a better sketch artist. Okay, if I have nothing written on it, they are superimposable. I'm just going to say SI, superimposable. Now, if I draw this guy, another set, and put a symmetrical object, give me another symmetrical letter. Which one would you like me to use? About, suggest.
B.
B.
V.
Okay, let's try B. I'm gonna do an experiment, Anna Marie. I'm gonna try B. I'm gonna try to draw B in two different ways. Okay, ready? I'm going to try the B first this way. And its counterpart is this guy. So it's not proper scale. Sorry, I'm being nitpicky here. And it needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay. And the B has to be written this way. That's its mirror image. If I now draw the B in a slightly different way, And if I draw the B this way, okay, that's the mirror image. Okay, these two are its mirror images. Okay, let's start numbering them. It's getting too busy. Hold on, give me a second. So let's say that's object 1 and object 2, object 3 and object 4, object 5 and object 6, object 7 and object 8, object 9 and object 10, object 11 and object 12. 9 and 10, are they superimposable? Two glasses, two glasses, I don't have the other glass, somebody took it. I have two glasses, one has B written this way, and the other one, the B written the mirror image way. Do you think you could take the two glasses and put one on top of the other and make them superimpose? Can you do this? If you took the two glasses and if you put one inside the other, and one has B written this way, and the other has B written this way. Do you think they will ever superimpose? Yes or no? What do you guys think? 9 and 10, are they superimposable? Yes or no?
No.
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 Okay. Not superimposable. What about 11 and 12?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they're superimposable. Okay, so what's going on here? What's the difference between being superimposable and not superimposable? What's the S word I'm looking to hear from you? The letter A. The letter A. You know what? That's bad drawing. I need to be little better with my drawing here. A. A. There is something going on with the line here. Okay. The letter L and the mirror image L. There is something funny. There is no such thing, no line I can draw so that the left and the right are the same. There is no such thing. B, the letter B here and the letter B here, same problem. I can't draw a line cutting that letter so that the left side and the right side are the same. But this B, when I draw it slightly differently, and this B, if I lay it down, then there is a line, left and the right sides are pretty much the same, okay? What's the S word I'm looking for that ends with the letter Y?
Symmetry.
Symmetry.
The tree.
I'm looking for the word symmetry. Yes, I'm looking for the word symmetry. A is symmetrical. L is not symmetrical the way it's written. Okay. B is not symmetrical this way, the way I have laid it out. The way the B is written here, it's symmetrical. So if you pick different letters, I, okay, there is symmetry, superimposable. J, not superimposable. Okay, what else? Q, not superimposable. Okay, because there is no symmetry, left and right. What time are we at? 1:17. We need to go pretty soon. Okay, so symmetry has a lot to do with this being superimposable or not. why are we concerned? Why do we care when we are learning organic chemistry with this symmetry and mirror image and all this discussions, which might give some of us headache, right? So why are we concerned? Because what is this? Ibuprofen. It's an organic molecule. It's an organic molecule. I can draw the structure of ibuprofen. This molecule, not Tylenol, aspirin doesn't matter. This particular molecule, the anti-inflammatory molecule, it also takes down your pain because it reduces inflammation. Some molecules have this feature. Amino acids that make proteins, they have this mirror image thingy going on, okay? It can be either a lefty or it can be a righty, okay? It exists in real life. Our body is, part of our body are symmetrical and non-symmetrical. The hand, this is the right, this is my right hand. Imagine this is my left hand because from your perspective, it's left hand, right? This hand and this hand, they're mirror images. If I hold my right hand in front of the mirror, if this is the mirror, if that's the mirror, if I put my left hand here, and you see this as my mirror image of my left hand, okay? Are they superimposable? How do you know? Well, you lay on one on top of the other. You don't lay this way, that's cheating, because the same surfaces should be on the same side, right? The palm should be facing you, and the back of my palm should be facing away from you, right? So if I'm holding it this way, and if I'm trying to superimpose, look, it's not superimposable. My pinky and my thumb are there, and my forefinger and my ring finger are there. Even my middle fingers don't superimpose because my nails are not, this is not symmetrical, right? So this is the left side of my right hand, and this is the right side of my middle finger on my left hand. So they're not superimposable. They're not superimposable. My thumbs are not superimposable because there is no symmetry, right? So when there is no symmetry, if an alien had a hand like this, perfectly symmetrical, if that's an alien hand, yes, in that case, they're superimposable. But that's not how our hands are, right? We don't have our thumb and our pinky are not same. Our middle finger is itself is not symmetrical, right? So here, this here, they're mirror image, they're not superimposable. Left eye and right eye, from your perspective, they're not superimposable. Even our nose, I'm not going to tell you like how my friends tease me and mock me. I'm not going to talk about that. No, most of our noses are not symmetrical. The left side of the face, the right side of the face, actually, they're also not symmetrical. Most of us have eyebrows slightly high and low. So if you actually take your picture, and if you start messing with it using Acrobat or whatever program, if you make a mirror image of your left side of your face and add it to the left hand of your face, you will start looking like a real, I'm not going to say the word that's at the tip of my tongue, but you're going to start looking like a machine. You're not going to look like a human being. I think the defects make us more human. I'm not kidding. I'm not making a philosophical statement. Where are we with time? 1:21. One more minute. So symmetry and this mirror image being superimposable or not superimposable, it is a huge deal, because sometimes one of the compound, the lefty, is the right compound to do the anti-inflammatory job, and the righty sits there, does nothing. Sometimes the lefty is the right guy and the righty is the bad guy. It has happened before. The wrong molecule, stereoisomer, caused fetal malfunction when the right isomer was supposed to be a morning sickness drug for pregnant women. If you Google thalidomide, thalidomide, thalidomide. That was a drug for pregnant women's, taking care of pregnant women's morning sickness. And they took it eventually when they gave birth to their babies. The babies were born without limbs, like no hands, literally, or no legs. Some babies were born just with the head and the torso and the body, no hands, no legs. You can Google it. You can Google it and you will find out. So that was done by the wrong isomer, mirror image problem. Okay, we're going to discuss this in details on Thursday. And good luck with the quiz. 8 questions, but 7 questions and a bonus question. 21 points together. Ignore what Canvas says. You don't have to keep your cameras on. I trust you, and I think you should reciprocate appropriately. The quiz is going to be available at 1:25, which is 2 minutes away. I'm going to hang up in like as soon as I can. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to make the video available whenever I can. I'll grade your thing, Christina. Send me an email after you're done with the quiz. So it's a 20-minute quiz. Don't look up anywhere, textbook, videos, website, whatever. If you do, you will actually be digging yourself a deeper grave because you won't have time to answer. You have like 2 point some minutes to answer each question, 2.5 minutes to answer 8 questions in 20 minutes. Good luck. I'm hanging up.
Bye.
Georgiana, are you saying something or you were just saying bye? I guess that's what you're saying. Okay, don't waste your time with me. Canvas, multiple choice quiz. Good luck.